Today we will hear from Tracy Sawyer from Melbourne about a project by a group called Testigo Africa.
An amazing woman. Her name is Tracy Sawyer. I told her when we were exchanging emails that she must be at least 95 to have done all the things she has, but she's nowhere near middle age.
It's Saturday the 7th of November and I've just arrived in Arusha.
Tracy is the founder of Testigo Africa, so obviously the first question is going to be for the listeners, what on earth is Testigo Africa?
And I feel like bursting into tears, to be really honest. It's really scary. It's really scary coming here and looking around and thinking this is my home, at least for the next 5 months.
Of course, our world in Australia has all kinds of modern conveniences, but how would you be if we didn't have such a basic thing as running water?
It's an adventure and exciting and scary all at the same time. I just feel a bit overwhelmed and scared and panic a little bit. Though I say I feel panic, but I mean it's not manifested in any direct way. I just feel it inside. I feel anxious. And I'm okay. I'm probably a little bit jet lagged and a bit emotional with that as well. Maybe anxious is better than panic. I'm not being very brave at the moment. Yeah, it's a lot of anxiety. My emotions now shifted from curiosity to fear.
Welcome to the program, Tracy.
Thank you very much.
Well, tell us about first of all, tell us about the project, why you're here. And I know it involves Maasai tribes. And I'm right in thinking they're the very tall, very elegant, very beautiful people.
They are, but they're not particularly tall, but because they're so slim and elegant that they appear tall.
So obviously the first question is going to be for the listeners, what on earth is Testigo Africa?
Well, testigo is the Spanish word for witness.
Oh, I got it wrong. I should have said it in Spanish, testigo.
And so it means really witness Africa. And it's a project that's going to bring running water to a Maasai tribe in Tanzania, amongst other things.
And how did you get involved in that?
It's a little bit of a long story, but I had to turn 40 in Africa. So it was in my last half hour in Zanzibar that I met a Maasai warrior called Lesoloi. We exchanged email addresses, as you do with a Maasai warrior.
Of course, yes.
Yes, I went back to London where I was living at the time, and there was an email waiting for me from Lesoloi. And I was actually going back to Tanzania 4 months later anyway, and he said, well, if you're going to be there around that time, we've got a ceremony in my village, which is Longido. Would you like to come? There was no way I wasn't going to go to a Maasai ceremony.
No, after you get invited, that's right, yes.
It's really hard to describe what it's like being back. It's beautiful. I'm just sitting here on the dirt. Trees around, I can hear birds continually. It's fresh air. I can smell the earth. I can smell the smoke from the fires that they use for cooking and making the tea. I can smell the Maasai. There's this wonderful smell of sort of slightly sour milk and tobacco. It's quite a unique smell. It's indescribable. It really is. It's just confirmation of what wonderful people they are. And they're just so genuine. There's no games. There's no sort of ego. There's no trying to be something they're not, or trying to portray a certain image. They're just exactly who they are. It's like they're stripped bare, and what you see is what you get, and it's exquisite to see, to experience, to be with. And I can be whoever I am here, and I can be anywhere, I guess, by choice. Here it's a lot easier, because this land strips you of any pretense as well. and I'm just surrounded by space, by these massive, massive big skies. And it's all just so natural, it's all just so back to basics, back to how we should be living or how we used to live before we forgot.
The biggest problem really is the lack of running water and the lack of water per se, because when the drought was on, the water holes also dried up. So any problems with health usually stems from the fact there's no water, or if there's any water at all, it's usually not particularly clean and healthy water.
Okay, it's Tuesday the 14th, and what a day, I have to say. It's absolutely bloody amazing. We went to see some of the water sources. One of them was just... it's fascinating. It was like they've hand dug this big hole in the 40s to access the water. And they've also, every year apparently they have to sort of re-dig the bottom bit to get it back up again. And these guys were just throwing buckets of water up. Just amazing to watch what they have to go through to get water there for their cattle. And it's quite humbling actually watching them. And it's obviously a matter of survival because their livestock dies if they don't get the water.
So use this water for their daily needs, as they use for washing their clothes, their bathing, and they can also drink. So they dig with hoes and spades, so and to make the holes very deep, and so they get water. You know, this is due to having no machines there, so then they can dig well.
It's like peak hour.
Well, the area is affected seriously by drought, isn't it?
The Maasai are pastoralists, and their whole livelihood are their livestock. And they tend to have cattle. They still also have goats and cows and sometimes donkeys. And 90% of that livestock died in that drought, which is tragic.
I was quite upset the other day to read in the Arusha Times that one of the Maasai's committed suicide because he's lost practically all his cattle. And it's really taken its toll on the Maasai because their cattle and their goats are their capital, and it's just really sad. Even here, you know, staying in Longido and talking to people and finding out, you know, where they had 100 cattle, they've got 5.
If it should be the last autumn leaf hanging from the tree, I'll still be here, waiting on the breeze to bring you down to me. And if it takes forever it'll be. And if it takes forever it'll be.
Tracy is a qualified lawyer, accountant and knowledge management and marketing professional with over 18 years' experience in professional services, financial services and business-to-business publishing, spanning 3 continents and more than 25 cities.
For quite a long time, I loved being, you know, in the middle of my career, and it was very much, you know, there was an intellectual stimulation at being in the area and also climbing the corporate ladder, like actually finding in me this, you know, ambition to tick the boxes, to think, yeah, I've got there, I've made it, and really just working with people that were very switched on and very driven. And that's been great for a number of years, but then I did reach a point when I hit, you know, ticked all the boxes, got to what I guess would be the peak, and thought, yeah, is this what it's all about? Because it's a bit empty, you know, there's no food there for my soul. It was a very intellectual journey for me.
My life in London and sort of the rat race element of it, getting up, going to work, commute, you know, doing the commute, coming home, collapsing in front of the TV, going to bed, getting up, doing exactly the same thing again. I'm just so tired of seeing people earning so much bloody money and not doing anything with it to help anyone else. There is no water, there's nothing to wash in, there's no electricity, how do you then sort of strip away all the Western stuff and end up in a Maasai village and you're happy and you love it? Thinking, you know what, they're wonderful people and I want to help, and you know, I can. And I said, okay, I'm going to help. It's very important that when we put the water pipes down. Then we had the meeting today with the village leaders. I can do this. Anyone can do this. Anyone that has a passion can do this, because that's what it's all about. It's having a passion. It's having something burning inside you, and it's having something inside that you need to share with other people. This is exciting. This is life. This is a gift.